A new US poll finds that more than half of Americans are stressed about food costs, prompting changes in their shopping habits amid growing concerns about the economy.
최근 실시된 미국 내 여론조사 결과 불확실한 경제 환경 속에서 미국인 절반 이상이 높아진 식료품 비용에 스트레스를 받고 있으며 이에 따라 쇼핑 패턴도 바꾸고 있는 것으로 나타났습니다. Obviously, when you have to spend less and you plan better.
Exactly. Almost everybody is stressed. 53% of Americans surveyed said it was a major stress when it came to grocery costs. 33% said it was a minor stress. Only 14% said the cost of groceries were not a source of stress. Trump, when he got into office or when he was being voted, he was talking about the price of eggs and lowering the price of eggs. And I think Americans were hoping for cheaper groceries, but economists are saying there's an economic slowdown. It's impacting the job market. It's impacting growth plans for companies. Higher inflation could be on the way. So Americans are stuck with buying smaller sizes, smaller portions. They're skipping the things that they don't really need, but they love to eat. And they're eating more at home. I've seen videos of Americans coming here to teach, for example, and they are shocked at the prices in the supermarket. They do these unboxing videos. They're like, look what I got for 40,000 won. And I always thought that American groceries were cheap.
Me too. But it's not anymore.
No.
So they had to change their shopping habits.
Yes, and your shopping habits are, the way you normally shop. So that could be the place that you like to shop, whether it's a department store, a supermarket, a traditional market, or a mom and pop store. It could be the things that you buy. It could be the brands that you buy, all sorts of things. It's however you like to shop. So my shopping habits are basically, I sometimes go to a big box store. I sometimes go to a department store. I usually go to our little store. That's my shopping habits. And I have the same sort of fruits, vegetables, meats, or grains that I like to buy. The same products. Those are my habits.
So the items-wise, I mean, it's pretty much the same, right? You shop those things like as before, but it's the place that you're talking about when you talk about the shopping habits.
So my shopping habits, I go to several different places. Some people only go to one. My shopping habits have changed. I used to go to the traditional market in my neighborhood, but now the traditional market is gone, so I can't go there.
Traditional markets.
Yeah.
그렇죠. 그러니까 전통시장이 이제 많이 좀 예전만큼 보이지 않는다라는 것이 안타깝긴 한데, 그렇구나. 자, 그래서 이제 예전엔 그랬지만 이제는 그게 사라진 바람에 you were sort of forced to move on to a different, like bigger.
Forced to change my habits.
그렇죠. Changing your habits. 자, 습관이라고 할 때 habit. 근데 이제 구매 습관이라는 단어로 shopping habits. 자, 그것을 많은 미국인들이 이제 할 필요가 있었다라고 얘기합니다. 워낙에 지금 식료품 가격이 높아졌기 때문에라고 하는데요. 그래서 이제 인플레이션이 점점 심해지는 거 아니야? 라고 해서 많은 우려가 커지고 있다는 얘기가 나옵니다. So they were talking about growing concerns about blah, 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 about this...
about the economy.
Economy, of course.
Yeah, and a concern is a worry, an anxiety of some kind, and if it's growing, it's getting bigger and bigger, meaning there are more and more concerns, more and more worries about what's going on. We've seen the tariff talk over the past few months, and people are thinking, does that mean the fruit that gets imported from Europe is going to be more expensive? They're getting more and more concerned, more and more worried, growing concerns.
And Kim, too.
No, you can't have expensive kim.
I know, roasted seaweed. 그렇죠.
But at least here in Korea, we grow our own, we make our own, so hopefully the price will stay lower.
Hopefully. 김값도 많이 올랐어요.
아이고.
네, 많이 올랐는데 어쨌든 미국에서도 이제 많이 김, 뭐 부각 이런 거 먹게 되는데 하여튼 여러 가지 그런 식료품들의 가격이 높아졌는데 자, 이거 경기에 대한 어떤 경제 상황에 대해서 많은 그 우려가 점점 커지고 있는 가운데 라고 해서 amid growing concerns about the economy 그 가운데 이제 많은 사람들이 스트레스를 받고 있다. They're heavily stressed out. 이런 이야기가 나오고 있습니다. Okay, so here's the story once again. A new US poll finds that more than half of Americans are stressed about food costs, prompting changes in their shopping habits amid growing concerns about the economy. All right, I guess it's time for us to move on to our next headline.
Taxi drivers in Afghanistan are mounting handmade air coolers on their vehicle roofs to cope with temperatures that regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius.
기온이 섭씨 40도를 넘기는 일이 잦은 아프가니스탄에서 이 택시 운전사들이, 택시 기사님들이 차량 지붕에 자체 제작한 에어컨 장치를 설치하는 모습이 포착됐다고 합니다. But don't they already have air conditioner just built in the car?
Well, they do, but they often break down, it seems. I guess maybe through overuse, maybe the taxis are a little bit older or whatever the case is. They also only work from the front sometimes, whereas these new air conditioning units that they're putting onto the roofs, well, they spread the cool air throughout the whole car. So it's a lot more effective. If your air conditioner is broken, you need something, and this seems to be the solution. There is a snag, and that is you have to refill it with water twice a day.
Twice a day?
Yes, so you do actually have to do a little bit of manual labor, but it's relatively cheap, only $43 to make yourself one of these coolers. And the weather has been very, very hot in Afghanistan. They had their warmest ever spring this year. There's also been a drought. And let's be honest, if you're a taxi driver, you need to be as cool as possible, and your passengers need to be as cool as possible too.
I know. 자, 한국에서도 이제 택시를 저도 아주 자주 이용하고 있는데 sometimes it's overly air conditioned.
Yes, I would say the subway sometimes.
그럴 때 영어로 뭐라고 해요? 조금 에어컨 조금 너무 센데 조금 낮춰주세요. How would you say that in English?
Could you turn down the air conditioning, please?
Could you turn down the air conditioner? Air conditioning or air conditioner?
I would say air conditioning, but you could say air conditioner. I think both are okay.
그러니까 turn down, just like turn down the volume.
Yeah,
이렇게
or else just say,
말할 때처럼.
it's freezing! Help! That's the other option.
Whatever works.
Less
you know.
polite, but hey, it works for me.
너무 추워서 조금 에어컨 세기 좀 낮춰주세요라고 할 때 우리가 볼륨 낮춰달라고 하는 것처럼 Could you please turn down the air conditioning 하시면 되겠군요. 네, 자 그런 나라가 있는가 하면 So they had 아까 labor work 말씀하셨지만 manual work라고 하셨는데 그 손으로 일일이 이제 그 2시간 아니 하루에 2번씩 물도 채워 넣어야 되고 이런 수고가 있지만 But the coolers we're talking about here are pretty affordable. 꽤나 가격이 뭐 이 정도면 설치할 만하다. So they mounted this seemed like pretty huge. 조금 커다랗게 보이긴 했는데 they mounted this handmade air coolers on their vehicle roofs.
Yeah, and if you mount something on someone else, you put it on top of it. In fact, I don't know. I would guess that you've probably mounted a horse in your time. Have you ever ridden a horse?
Oh, once, very briefly.
Yeah, so
for
you
5
mounted the
minutes.
horse, which means you got on top of it.
Yes.
So we use the word mount when it comes to animals, like getting onto an animal. You can mount some vehicles, or we can use it for putting something on top of something else and securing it there.
So does it have the same sort of meaning as loading then?
To load, to get on, however, load can be inside. If you load up a van, load up a truck, that may be inside the van, inside the truck, where if you're mounting something onto a van, you're putting it on the roof.
Oh.
So you might mount your bicycles on top of your car, for example.
Right. Then in that case, you wouldn't want to use the word load in that
You
sense?
could use the word load, but load is ambiguous. Because load could be inside, outside, on top, on the side, who
Okay.
knows where.
그러니까 보통 로딩한다는 말을 하잖아요. 로딩. 그러니까 어떤 걸 위로 이제 뭐 올린다, 내린다, 뭐 이런 말을 하게 되는데, 근데 여기서는 올리는 건 마찬가지지만 어떤 것에 위에 올린다. 위에 올려서 뭐 붙이든지 설치하든지 끼우든지 뭐 얹히든지 이게 다 마운트가 되겠습니다. 말 위에 오르는 것처럼 코끼리 위에 올라앉는 것처럼.
네.
그렇죠?
Yes.
인도 같은 데 가면 그러더라고요. 코끼리 올라타고 막 이러기도 하더라고요.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the elephant thinks about it, though.
그러니까 뭐 기분 좋겠어요. 근데 어쨌든 mount는 그런 뜻으로 M-O-U-N-T 여기서는 we're talking about this handmade air coolers. 손으로 직접 만든 그런 에어 쿨러를 오죽하면 이러겠어요. On top of their vehicle, which is roof part, 그 차 지붕 위에다가 mounting 얹어놓고 있다라고 합니다. Why? To cope with these high temperatures.
Yes, and if we cope with something, for a start, that something's not going to be very nice. That something is going to be difficult in some way. It's going to be hard for us or tiring or causing problems. So we're coping with it, with this difficult thing, meaning we're enduring it, we're surviving it, we're getting through it. How are you coping with today's show?
Oh, so far so good. Fantastic.
I'm glad to hear you're coping well.
I think coping is not the proper word. I'm enjoying this
Oh,
moment.
sure. But we talk about when we're going through a hard time or doing something difficult. Like, if you're a marathon runner, how did you cope running 24 miles? It must have been really hard.
Right.
You might ask someone that.
맞습니다. 그러니까 아주 어려운 일을 어떻게 견뎌내세요? 우리도 이제 어려운 일에 대해서 말할 때 견뎌내다라는 말을 하듯이 여기서도 cope with, C-O-P-E로 쓰게 되고 cope 다음에 항상 with가 거의 늘 오게 되죠. 어떤 것에 대처하고 대항한다. cope with. So basically you're fighting against these high temperatures.
Exactly.
그렇죠?
Finding a way to survive through them.
그렇죠. survive through them. 여기서 이제 이겨내기 위해서 이런 그 쿨러를 차 위에 얹는 그런 아프가니스탄 택시 기사분들의 이야기를 방금 함께 하셨습니다. So here's the story once again. Taxi drivers in Afghanistan are mounting handmade air coolers on their vehicle roofs to cope with temperatures that regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius. If you think about it, 40 degrees Celsius.
It's a lot hotter than here right now.
그러니까요. 자, 요즘은 한 33도만 돼도 뭐 견딜만 해. 이런 말을 하게 됩니다. Alright, so let's move on to our final headline, shall we?
Researchers have found that eating potatoes as French fries rather than baked, boiled, or mashed 3 times a week increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by about 20%.
감자를 삶거나 굽거나 으깨는 방식이 아닌 튀김 형태로 주 3회 섭취할 경우에 제2형 당뇨병 발병 위험이 20% 높아진다는 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. Do you like potatoes?
I love potatoes.
Me too.
And I just want to say right here and right now, potatoes are not dangerous.
Right.
Do not panic about the potatoes.
감자는 죄가 없어요. 감자는. But it's about how you cook it, right?
Exactly, and this is the problem, is that if you do turn them into fries or chips, as we say in the UK, then it's going to increase the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. This is a study done at Harvard University. If you eat fried potatoes 3 times a week, that raises your risk of diabetes by 20%. If you eat your potatoes any other way that doesn't involve oil and heat, so baking, boiling, or mashing, it only raises your risk by 5%. That said, there are better things than potatoes.
Oh.
You should replace your potatoes with whole grains if you want to lower your risk of diabetes, because that lowers the risk by 8%. And if you eat grains instead of chips, that lowers your risk by 19%. But
then,
I've got bad news.
Oh,
White rice doesn't do it. It's got to be whole grains.
that has to be whole grains. 그렇구나. 그러니까 이거는 이제 통곡물이 돼야만 하는 거지. 이게 또 그 정제된 무슨 뭐 탄수화물 이게 그렇게 안 좋다는 말을 하게 되잖아요. 그럼 많이 알죠. 우리가 다 알지. It's not that we don't know any of these information. 알긴 아는데 그 참 어렵죠, 사실.
But the problem is that potatoes are a staple. If you look around the world, there are the 3 big staples are potatoes, rice, and wheat. Those are the things that pretty much everyone eats at least one of those at least once a day.
You mean in
All over the world.
All over the
So
world.
here in Korea, it's rice, but it is also potatoes. In the UK, it's wheat and potatoes. Depending where you are, it's pretty much 2 of the 3, I think.
potatoes are always included there. So.
Very much so, because they are delicious.
그러니까 자 감자는 죄가 없습니다. 그러나 감자를 어떻게 먹느냐에 따라서 이 자그마치 타입 2 다이어비티스의 그 발병할 수 있는 그런 developing 할 수 있는 가능성이 20% 정도 높아진다라고 하니 something to keep in mind. 자, 여기서 rather than 이란 표현이 나오는데 so they were introducing all these different types of sort of cooking potatoes. 그러니까 eating potatoes as French fries 그 감튀로 먹게 되면 rather than baked, boiled or mashed 3 times a week 이러고 story goes on. Rather than 이런 말이 나오네요.
Yeah, we use this when we're looking at 2 different things and we're saying, well, not this, we're going to have this instead. So rather than is the same as instead of. We're replacing something or we're saying, comparing these 2 things like this.
그러니까 rather than도 우리가 참 많이 배우게 되는 표현 중에 하나인데 이런 식으로 또 쓰게 된다는 겁니다. 그러니까 boiled, mashed, 뭐 이렇게 baked 하기보다는 그보다는 French fries 타입으로 먹게 될 때 이런 이제 위험성이 좀 있을 수 있다라고 하는데 그러니까 비교해서 얘기할 때 뭐뭐보다는 좀 이게라고 할 때 rather than 이란 말을 쓰게 되는군요. Not this but that라고 그 굉장히 확실하게 구분을 짓는 것보다는 그러니까 이럴 수도 있겠지만 이것보다는 그래도 이렇게 할 때 rather than 많이 쓰게 됩니다. 그리고 develop이란 말이 나오게 되는데 I grew up actually learning this particular word in a context where they talk about Korean economy.
Yes. Okay. So we can use it in
한강의
positive or negative sense. There's going to be a change of some kind. I like to think of photographs. In the old days, not digital, but analog. When you used to have a roll of film and you would take that roll of film to be developed, to be changed from negatives into photographs. So some process that is changing one thing into another thing is either positively or negatively. In this case, it's negative because your body changes into a body with diabetes. It develops diabetes.
그러니까 develop 하게 되면 우리가 developing country에서 developed country가 됐다 뭐 이런 얘기 참 많이 하게 되는데 개발도상국에서 뭐 선진국이 됐다라고 할 때 그때 develop이라는 단어를 많이 썼거든요. 말씀하신 것처럼 어떤 걸 변화시킨다라고 할 때 이제 뭐 발전시키든 develop 이 병에 대해서 even when we talk about certain types of diseases we can still use this word to mean that it's changing something.
Yeah.
Develop.
The thing to not get confused with is that nowadays, when we look at technology, develop often means to create. Yeah, so it doesn't just mean to change. We talk about the developer who's developing software. They're not changing the software, they're building it from scratch.
그러니까 inventing or like making 하는 경우도, 그러니까 새롭게 만드는 경우도 develop 한다고 요즘은 말하게 되고, and you can even develop a relationship develop to something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
To another level.
Yeah.
그렇잖아요.
And I've got a pop quiz for you, Boyan.
Okay. I hate pop quizzes, but
Really?
anyway, go ahead.
Okay. Do you know what kind of clothes British people like to eat their potatoes with?
Clubs, you mean?
Clothes.
Clothes.
Yeah, clothes.
아니, 그 포테이토 먹는데 입는 옷이 따로 있어요?
Yeah, the potato wears clothes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Beats me.
we love jacket potatoes.
Jacket potatoes. You got me there.
It's a baked potato. It's the British expression for baked potato because it's in its jacket. It's still in its skin.
그렇구나. Good for you.
I'm
Okay.
so sorry. I feel like our relationship has developed very badly in the past minute. I'm just going to
there
leave
you
the
go.
room. I'm just going to walk away, Boyan. Just going to walk away.
자, 관계가 발전한다고 그 얘기하려고 하다가 이제 develop 했는데 그렇군요. baked potato를 jacket potato라고 해요.
Yeah, you might hear it if you're in the UK. It'll be on the menus. Yeah,
If
the
I
same
ever
thing.
get to visit the UK, I will keep that in mind. And I will make sure that I will use it.
Okay.
네, 꼭
So sorry.
쓰겠습니다.
I'm
No
really
problem. You learn something new every day. Okay. 자, researchers have found that eating potatoes as French fries rather than baked, boiled, or mashed 3 times a week increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes by about 20%.